In this video, we're going to be servicing a BMW Mini Cooper. We're going to be doing the oil and filter changes on this car. First of all, you're going to need your filters and spark plugs and coil leads. You're going to need your specification oil, whatever that is. And we're using an oil extraction procedure on this one. Also a socket set, full socket set like I've got there. So let's start with taking off the air filter. So take off all the wires that are attached to it. As you can see, there's just some loom running along it. Just make sure you ease it out of the clips so you've got full access to the air filter itself. Now with your 8mm socket, just take your time and undo the two bolts located on the right side of the filter itself when you're standing in front of it. Now these are captured bolts, so they won't come out all the way, they still hold in. So just loosen them. Once you like the way I do it, I loosen them and I do the rest by hand and just take it off. There's the filter there. As you can see, this filter was well in need of having a change. Look, there you go. All that dirt in there is making it not breathe, making it run inefficiently, poor fuel economy. So here's our new filter. It's a man filter. Just slip that in there and press it down. Make sure you've got a good seal against the edge of the actual air filter housing itself. Slip it all back together and carefully tighten these bolts up. Like I said, they're plastic and it will chew out and it won't hold it. So just carefully undo that. Now there is meant to be some sort of clip on that rubber hose going to the side of the actual air filter itself. But I will tell the customer about that later. But just put back everything as you found it before, and that's your filter done. Now we're on to the spark plugs. Now we're changing the coil leads on these because these are quite temperamental. Remember not to pull too hard because they can grip. So just be careful as you're pulling them out. Gently loosen them. As you can see what I'm doing here with my spark plug socket. Once it's loose, I do the rest by hand because I always like to feel how it's coming out. As you can see, that was in need of change. Looking a little bit corroded on the end there. Now I put the new one back in carefully as you see me doing here, and always do this part by hand, reinsert it by hand, or you do risk the possibility of cross-threading the cylinder head. Same thing with the next one. As you can see, this one must have been broken because this was causing some hesitation, I believe. As you can see in there, the end of the electrode actually broke off inside the cylinder itself. Luckily, it wasn't too low and I was able to get a long nose pliers. So if this happens to you, make sure you get it down there, get a good grip and a good yank. There you go, come out all at once. Do the same things I did with the other spark plugs, just loosen it. And then once you get it going, then do the rest by hand. Now this one's got a little bit of oil around the edges. Might be a gasket leak there, little rocker cover gasket. But carefully slide these in, making sure these don't drop. Let's carry on the same with the rest of the coil leads. And just take your time and undo them. All of this is going to affect your economy, so it's really easy to do. As you can see, it's just pretty simple stuff. There you go. Now, like I said, make sure you don't drop the spark plugs because that will change the space in between the actual electrode and the connector. So I'm just going back round and snugging these up, making sure not to over tighten them because that will cross thread them inside the cylinder head itself. So just take your time with them. Now I'm changing the leads, so I'm just stretching them out so I can match them. As you can see, I'm checking the length of them and putting them in the according locations. Now you can get these mixed up on old cars where they don't have the cylinders numbered, but BMW have done this quite intelligently where they've numbered the cylinders and the number on the coil pack, so it's really hard to get it wrong. But just replace them, make sure you're getting the right ones for the right length. This one was a bit sticky, so it needed a bit of help. Just pushing it off. And it's putting a bit of a fight up. So as you can see, there's numbers on them, and these two electrodes at the end, connectors, are a bit rusty. So we've got to clean them up before we put the new ones back on to make sure we get the best connection as possible. So you see me here just using some wire wool, a Brillo pad. This one had soap in it, that's why I've got so much dust. But it's all that I had at the time, so use what you've got. But make sure they're nice and clean. Just clean them up, you know. Just a little twist, they'll clean in no time at all. dusting everything off to make sure there's no debris on it from the soap. And like I said, they're all numbered on here, so you can see them, which one goes where. And as you can see there, the cylinders here are numbered as well. So there's 1, 2, and 3 and 4 on this one. So it's really hard to get wrong. Let's just fit it all back together. Make sure you hear that click. Make sure they're all on. And that alone should make your car just run better. These little simple maintenance tips are just so valuable, you know. So we're changing the pollen filter, once again using a MAN. I'm going to be honest with this one. I prefer the BMW one, but as you can see, the bottom of it just pops off like that. So just grab it off and pop it off. But this is the original BMW pollen filter, as you can see. It's got that plastic rib down the side, which makes it a little bit more robust than the MAN one. But that was disgusting. That was just poisoning people. So here's the new one. Although it's brand new, it still feels a little bit more flimsy than the other one. So we're going to slide that in. And as you can see, there's them 2 guys that you've got to slide it in. So you just got to just do your best and get it in there. You've got to manhandle it a little bit. And this is what I didn't really like with this one. It was a bit soft, but we got it in the end and just pushed it in, like I said, manhandled it a little bit. But once it goes in, it's in. And this cover is really, really easy to put on as well. Look, there it is. This cover's really easy to put on. Them little pointy bits go up with a curve. You just push that up, make sure they clip over them little edges. There you go, and it's done. Really easy, just give it a little slap, make sure. Now it's on to removing the oil filter. So it's just down by the side back of the engine next to the exhaust. So make sure your car's not too hot because you will burn yourself. Not got the best shot here, but there it is there, that silver looking metallic-y thing in the middle. And get your short 36mm socket to undo it. Now this was on quite tight, so I needed to get a little bit of help. I put a little breaker bar on the end of it. Well, it's the end of my trolley jack really. And just crack it. Once it's cracked, it's all good. Just take your time and undo it with quarter turns. Now you could do it from the top, or like I've done here, slip it down underneath it and then do it, and then undo it from there. So you're reaching down almost underneath the car instead of from the top of it. Now release it, undo it till you get to the last couple of threads, and it's quite loose, as you can see I'm doing here. This will allow a bit of a vent and to allow the oil to breathe out of the cylinder and out of the filter and back down into the sump. So with the oil extractor, as you can see I'm doing here, just put it in there and give it a few pumps. What I like about this oil extractor is it does everything for you. There's no laying under the car, there's no mess, and you know, just one service will get back the money on this oil extractor. So if you want one of these, go to my website. I'll put a link in the description. So while that's sucking out the oil from the bottom, just grab either a paper towel or a plastic bag, just in case there's anything that comes, any extra oil or anything else that comes off of it while you're removing it. Now take off the rubber seal using a knife here, little Swiss Army knife. Didn't have much tools. And remove the filter. As you can see, that's in pretty bad shape. With your new filter, just slip it in there and make sure you get it a good push in there, so you'll feel it locate when it goes in there. With your new rubber seal, just ease it down and make sure it goes into the groove at the very end of the filter housing itself. A little bit of grease on my fingers, so that will help lubricate it down. Dispose of the other filter appropriately. Now just putting it back on, make sure your hands are not slippery, because if they're slippery, got oil on it, it's going to make it a little bit harder. And just do it hand tight and as far as you can. It grips quite quickly, I found, but once it's on, just tighten it up. Really easy stuff. You'll feel it tight. And there you go. Now the oil extractor is drained all of the oil out of the engine. You can see it drained a lot of oil there. Just start to add back the oil, your specified oil, the oil for your car. I buy it in trade, so I get this in this sort of size. Make sure you've topped it up and check the levels. Start the car, have a little drive around and make sure and come back and check the levels again. That's it. Oil and filter done. Simple as that. Yes. Just serviced the car. So when I was first driving this car, all I was getting was hesitation. It just generally needed a bit of maintenance. Done a lot of work to this car. We changed the clutch, changed the exhaust, trying to get my seat fixed. Ever since I've changed the spark plugs and the coil leads, cleaned up the connectors, the car's a totally different car. No missing, no hesitation, and just, you know, just the general well-being of the service just seems to make a car run better. It's by far one of the best things you can do for your car. Service, regular service intervals is by far the best thing you can do for your car. You know, look, so much better now, so much better. It'd be hesitating everywhere, all over the place. But now, yeah, and it sounds good as well. That's another thing, it actually sounds good. That clean oil running around, you know? If you really want to protect your car, you get the equipment that I've shown in the in my video, and you just service it every 5,000 miles. And I guarantee you, your car will be brilliant. You should have little to no issues with your car, provided you service regularly and you service, you service regularly. Every 5,000 miles, your car won't ever have any problems. You know, a lot of people like to talk about, oh, put good oil in, but as long as your oil is a specification suitable for your car, you'll be fine. As long as you change it regularly. Regular maintenance, good regular maintenance will always outdo good oil, if that makes sense, or these so-called premium oils. You know? Obviously there's bad oils and there's good oils, but you got to get the one specified for your vehicle. Once you get the one specified for your vehicle, you won't have no problems. And especially if you change it regular. It's so much better, this car now. So much better. So that's the benefit of servicing your car, really. And it's even better to know how to service it, you know? Doesn't take much time, half an hour, 45 minutes. I reckon I could have done it in about 20 minutes if I wasn't filming. So if I can do it, you can do it. I said, look after your car, service it regularly, and you'll have no problem. You'll have no problems at all. Thank you for watching. Much appreciated. BmacBags. See you soon.